I'm actually going to be getting pretty deep down the rabbit hole with what kind of macros that you want to eat. Obviously what kind of carbs, but we're also going to be talking about what kinds of fats and what kinds of proteins that you need to optimally help with your hormone level. So obviously make sure you watch this whole entire video because I don't want you to miss anything important, right? So in this study right here, carbohydrates can be stored as glycogen in the liver and muscles. And you can also see here, excessive glycogen depletion can contribute to muscle fatigue by lowering ATP synthesis and possibly also by lowering muscle excitation. So the ATP is like the battery that gives your muscles energy to move. If you have less glycogen, your body can't take enough ATP and your muscles won't have enough energy to keep you going. This is just a fancy way of saying that your muscles might not get the correct signaling to function properly. Like if you're going to turn on a light switch and it doesn't turn on. So if you're low on your glycogen, then your muscles are not going to perform properly, basically. I'm going to bring in a guest into this video. Here we got Mike Mentzer. We're going to have him explain it better.
The reason for the predominance of carbohydrates is that sugar is the preferred fuel source of the neuromuscular system, the most efficient fuel for high-intensity muscular contractions. The suffix hydrate in the word carbohydrate means water, and muscle tissue is not mostly protein, but water, 72% to be precise.
That all sounds pretty familiar. He did a really good job of explaining it, way better than I did. But you can see how familiar that is with the study that I was just reading off, which is the most impressive part because this study was a 2022 study and Mike Mentzer's not even alive anymore. This was like in the 1970s when he made that audio. So the fact that that audio was probably like 50 years old and it's still in touch with modern day research on bodybuilding, that says a lot about Mike Mentzer. He seemed to know a lot more about building muscle as opposed to these little 16-year-old kids that are just pushing out these arsenic, cyanide, poisonous pre-workout piece of junk. You don't even need to get a caffeine boost in order to hit your training. The only thing beneficial in those pre-workouts are L-citrulline, and these kids are pushing it out and making it seem like that's the pure base of building the muscle. Maybe more people would be jacked if they listened to Mike Mentzer. Also in the study, this is the same study. Previous reviews have recommended carbohydrate intake of 8 to 10 grams per kilogram of body weight per day during heavy anaerobic exercises. Others recommend 4 to 7 grams per kilogram of body weight per day for strength athletes to optimize their performance and hypertrophy. There's also the endurance athletes, but we're gonna stay focused on the strength athletes that wanna optimize their hypertrophy because that's what bodybuilding is. I'm gonna try to make a basic formula for you right here to look at. You're gonna take this formula, you're gonna write it down in your notes app, and then you're gonna figure out how much carbs that you need to eat. I'm gonna calculate mine real quick as an example. You're gonna pay attention, you're gonna take notes, you're gonna figure this out for yourself. So first you gotta convert your weight. So I weigh 190 pounds and my calorie maintenance is 4,700 calories. I'm gonna convert my 190 kilos to pounds, right? A simple Google search will get you that answer. For me, 86.3 kilos. And we're gonna stay on the higher route of carbohydrates. Like Mike Mentzer said, we want high carbs. So we're gonna stay on the high 7 grams. We're not gonna want to be sitting on the 4. We can do 4 if we have to, but we're really gonna be sticking to that 7. That's what we want. We're the lucky 7s. 7 carbs times the weight in kilos that you weigh, 86.3, you're gonna get 604.52 kilos per gram of carbs. And there's 4 calories of carbs per gram, always, universally speaking. So you're just gonna have to remember that 4 calories per gram of carb. 604.52 kilos per gram of carb times 4 calories of carbs per gram. 2418.08. calories from carbs. 2418.08 calories from carbs divided by your maintenance calories, in my case, 4,700 equals 0.514. You're gonna times that by 100 just to get your percentage, or just move the decimal place twice and that'll just give you the answer. So for my carbs, I need to eat 51.44% of carbs, exactly. And that's very, very similar to the macros on carbs that Mike Mentzer was talking about. He said, go on the 60s. So you could just stay on the 60s if you want. That's a crazy lot of carbs, but we're gonna do it and we're gonna get fucking jacked, right? Because there's no reason to be eating high protein diets anymore. That's a fad. I don't know why, but I hear specifically women preaching high protein. If anybody can tell me why they do that, let me know. I'm not really into female hormones. I'm more into male, obviously, because I'm a man and I got low test. I've done my own research. I've done my hours of ripping my hair out of my head in order to find the best macros that you need for bodybuilding. This is what I came to the conclusion with. Let's start with gluconeogenesis and what it means, right? It converts amino acids into glucose if you're not eating enough carbs, which can lead to muscle loss. So with that being said, your liver takes glucose, right? We already talked about that. It converts T4 into T3, called deiodination, which is important for your thyroid. You take T3 with vitamin A and LDL cholesterol, and you can convert that into pregnenolone. You want high levels of pregnenolone. And that's just another tool in your toolbox for increasing your hormones, for boosting your testosterone, to getting jacked. I even got a bonus study in this. Thank me later. If the first 2 studies didn't convince you, I'm sure this one will. Scientists wanted to find out if eating different amounts of protein and carbs affects certain important hormones in our bodies. They had 7 healthy men eat 2 different diets for 10 days each. One group of the 7 men had a high protein diet. The other ate a lot of carbs. They measured their testosterone, their cortisol, and their sex hormone binding globulin for both groups. When the men ate the high carbohydrate diet, their testosterones were higher. It was around 468 nanograms a deciliter compared to the men that ate the high protein diet. The men that ate the high protein diet got around 371 nanograms a deciliter, which are both really fucking low numbers. Like, come on, what are we doing? Look at this chart. Look at the men's testosterone levels just dropping drastically ever since that we've introduced the use of plastic more. And if somebody watching this video has old blood labs, please send me them, because I want to see what the range of testosterone levels are, because I want to see what the healthy range of testosterone is considered back in the day as opposed to today. Back to the study. Sorry for the little rant. So the men that ate higher carbs had higher testosterone. Bam! You know what you need to do now. Eat higher carbs. Thanks for watching.